What are we looking at today, guys? Well, this is the Luft Knives Avant, or Avant. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. You can see it there on the table in front of you, but this was designed by Jake over at Bearded Gear. Now, this is his personal one. This is number 3. So I don't know how many of them there are so far in the market, but I've seen pictures. But I got this directly from him at California Custom Show, so it's been in the works for a while. So let's take a look at it from above. We'll take a quick look at it. It's a lot of fun. It's got a lot going for it. So let's take a look at it. So guys, like I said in the intro, we are looking at the Luft Knives Avant. This is a knife that was designed by a friend of mine, Jake, also known as Bearded Gear on Instagram and YouTube. And if you don't follow his channel, you probably should. This thing is a lot of fun. I've had it out this morning. I did a little bit of cut testing that you're going to see right now. I'm going to overlay it. It cuts so good for such a light knife. So, yeah, I sped that up a little bit, but I had a little bit of cut testing to do on it. I'm pretty impressed with it so far. I've only found a couple little things with it that I'm not a big fan of. And like I said, all those things are always my opinion. But this thing is extremely light. We'll touch on that here in a minute. But first things first, you guys know how we do. We're going to do some size comparisons. So your first knife is going to be the Artisan Knives Andromeda, designed by Ray Laconico. A little bit smaller in size, but I will tell you, it is much heavier in weight than this Luft Knives Avant. This is a very light knife. So there's your first one. Next knife's going to be the Petrified Fish Havrog, because it is first day in pockets for this knife as well. I'm carrying both of these today. Very drastic size difference. This is a much smaller knife, but way heavier. Like, I am amazed at how light this knife is every time I pick it up. So next knife, as always, is going to be the Chris Reeves Large Sebenza 21, and you can see it's just a little bit bigger than this Luft Knife Advance. So really good size comparison, and just amazing how much lighter this knife is than this one. So let's get this out of the way and start talking about this knife, and I'll talk about what we've done so far. Since you've seen, I've already done some cut testing. So like I said, first day in pockets, there's not a lot to say because there's not a lot to glean from this knife. I know nothing really about this knife. I don't follow the knife world. You guys know this. I don't watch other YouTube channels very often and follow things because I try to keep myself sequestered from that. And plus, after you do so many videos, you just don't want to see any more knife stuff. So I do believe, if I remember correctly, these were an M390 when I talked to Jake at Blade Show West. That's what he was saying, and I got to see one of these there. It is amazing how light this knife is. And there's a lot of things they've done. I'm pretty sure they used ultra thin liners on this, and then the micarta, and then just the fact this is a super hollow ground blade. But let's go ahead and take a look at it. So really thin behind the edge, deep hollow on this, with a very large aperture on this M390 blade. It slices through cardboard like butter. Action on this is great because it is very light, and you have this huge aperture that you can reverse flick on. And then you've got a flipper tap that just completely disappears. So there's no hot spot there with that. Your flipper tap is completely gone. It's just part of the knife at that point. In hand, there are very few negative things I will say about how this feels in hand. We'll talk about that in a minute, but it is very comfortable in hand. And like I said, the balance on it is just about perfect. You've got just a pretty neutral balance right there at about the pivot. The action on it is just shy of drop shake, but that's because it's so light. Maybe I'll get my scale. That's what I'll do. Let me get my scale out and I can show you how incredibly light this knife is. All right, let's look at this in ounces, because that is 3 1/8 ounces. So as we said, the Havrog, this Petrified Fish Havrog, is a much smaller knife. It's significantly smaller. You are looking at 4.5 ounces. And then the Andromeda, which is a skinny knife and should weigh less, is 3 1/4. You can feel the difference. So significantly lighter. And for those of you that don't use Freedom units, let's go ahead and do it in grams. 86 grams. They're 87 grams. This thing is nuts light. So let's get this out of the way and continue talking about the knife. So like I said, I did some some cardboard cutting. I also cut some wood. Now I'll tell you, like, you guys only ever really see me doing like cardboard cutting and stuff because I just don't want to run the tripod all the way to the backyard where I have the wood dowel rods that I use. I use oak dowel rods, and that's something you really have to bear down on and cut. I've used broomsticks and stuff in the past. I've went through all those, but I do like feather sticking and cutting on wood, and that's when you really bear down on a knife. That's when you're going to feel any hot spots or discomfort in the knife. And I really didn't feel anything in the way of discomfort, but I will talk about the negative things. It cuts really, really well. And like I said, you put this in your pocket, it all but disappears. I forgot to mention the blade shape is great. You have this really straight edge where you can do a lot of work. And then you've got just a little belly for getting around things, which would come in very handy if you're cutting meat, processing meat, out in the field. You could use this for a lot of things. This is designed by someone that spends a lot of time out in the outdoors. So I would expect nothing less. Oh, and the blade has been crowned so well. It's rounded here, but there's still enough of a sharp spot. You could strike a ferro rod off of that. You could absolutely strike a ferrocerium rod off of that. Even though it's nice and crowned here, it's got enough right there that you could just strike a ferrocerium rod and not have to worry about using your edge. So yeah, so far, great stuff. But like I said, every time you get a knife, if you're gonna be honest, you're gonna find a couple little things that you find. Like with the good, there always comes a little bit bad. So let's flip it around and talk about those little things, and they are very minor. First things first, I'm not a real big fan of the pocket clip. The pocket clip in and out of pocket is great. I have other pocket clips like this on that PMP big boy. I don't dislike these clips. I've gotten to where I can get past the fact that these clips move because they don't scratch things. They're not hot spotty because they are rounded. But if this back is round, that I can definitely feel. It's not necessarily a hot spot. I wouldn't call it a hot spot. I can just definitely feel it there. I would have been a lot happier if it was rounded like this one. Hang on, let me grab it. Right here, this one on the PMP Big Boy. See how it's more rounded? That doesn't, it's not super hot spotty, but you can definitely feel that it has that high point. I'd be a lot happier if it was a little bit more rounded and didn't stand up quite as abruptly. You know what I'm saying? But it is a very good pocket clip. In and out of pocket, it's been great. The only other thing, like honest to goodness, guys, the only other thing I've noticed is I think I just have to get used to this. I'm so used to this is not like on the EMP Nimble, where you have like a big opening where you're kind of just locked in. You can get on this. Yeah, I busted my knuckles on the freaking top of the trash can. I got my arm too while we were doing cut testing this morning with some of these knives. Like this isn't bad. It feels unusual, but I can get all the way up on it and get a very good purchase. It's just, I don't know, maybe I would have wanted this to be chamfered down, almost like a finger guard area. I don't know what I would want on that. I think I just have to get used to it. It's not bad. It feels odd to me. And I think it's just because I'm not used to it yet. It's like, I've said this before. When you go from one knife to another, like you go from a knife that has a specific feel to it, like what's in my pocket here? Like this. When you go from a knife that has a specific feel to it, like on that, and you switch to this, it's like going to a friend's house and they have Xbox and you're used to playing on PlayStation. You can do it. It's the same. It just feels different. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think I'm going to get used to it. It is very comfortable to cut with. So only the two, basically that's not even a negative. That's the only thing right there, is just that pocket clip stands up a little bit. So if that's all I've found in first day, pretty good with it. I can't believe how incredibly light this is. I put it in my pocket and I went out to go do that cut test. And I was like, oh, I better go grab the knife because I couldn't feel it in my pocket. And I literally was like, I reached down, I was like, oh no, it is in my pocket. Another thing, this pocket clip is great. I actually carried this in waistband for a little bit, in the waistband of my pants. Comfortable, really comfortable to carry it that way. So guys, that's pretty much all I've got on it. There's not much negative. If you are a lefty, meant to mention this, you are a lefty, it has a reversible pocket clip, and you didn't hear me complain about a lanyard hole, because guess what? There isn't one. So All right, let's turn this around. We'll do some final thoughts. Let's send you out about your day on this kind of unusual morning. Guys, sorry, it's kind of a weird morning. Just hit 10K last night on a live feed. So I'm pretty happy about that. It is Saturday here. So pretty happy about that. I'm sorry if it feels disjointed and stuff. And I have to apologize. One of my overhead lights above the workbench area went out. So if the lighting was a little weird, I had to rely on just these and a light behind me. So yeah, really, really happy about this knife. I wish that I had gotten one in sooner. I may have been able to help get Jake some more sales on these knives, but I think it's going to stand on its own. I'm pretty impressed with it. It was weird looking at first, like the first time I saw it, but now that I've gotten to handle it, I get it. Like I understand it now. Like, you never understand something until you get it in hand. You're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Now I get it. So yeah, so far pretty impressed, but we'll see how it pans out. Sometimes my opinions change back and forth. I got to get the specs on the knife. When I get ready to do the final edit on this, I'll reach out to Jake and let him know I'm doing it. So yeah, only one thing, the pocket clip. I just wish it didn't stand up as proud. That's for me, a picky person. That's kind of impressive. So guys, thanks for helping me get to 10,000 subs. I can't believe that happened last night on that live feed. It's great. We will do the giveaway for that 10,000 sub subscriber mark sometime in the near future, probably after the first of the year. I don't want to try and do something like that around the holidays. People need to spend time with their family. The live feeds and stuff will still go on, but I don't want to try and do a big live. I want it to be more fair where more people might get to participate. So yeah, guys, if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down. I'm sorry, I'm just I'm flustered. I thought it would take forever to get 10,000 subs, and it kind of did. Guys, that's pretty much it. You've heard the spiel. I got a ton of affiliate links down below. Pick one, buy something with it. It helps the channel. If you use the Amazon ones, anything you purchase, it doesn't matter, from toothpaste to trailer hitch. It doesn't matter what you purchase. I still get credit for it. The membership's tier-based. There's 3 different tiers, different levels. You can see them there. But if you are a member, make sure you check if you join the membership, make sure you check and get on the Gilded server. You'll miss out on giveaways. And I do have a merchandise store over on Ember Shirt Co., where I have a bunch of stuff over there. And I have a coupon code that will save you 10% at checkout for my stuff or other creators' stuff. 10,000 subs. That's a lot of fun. Guys, that's it. I love y'all. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next video.